Wow, man. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Eric from the Beemer Fam. Oh my god. Oh man, that's I'm sorry. Y'all just gonna have to give me quite some time because I'm not gonna get used to that for a while. It's so much louder. And I'm not even downtown, around buildings. I'm just driving where there's only trees around me. Jeez. Yo! Oh, it hits the perfect pitch. Alright, so I guess we should probably start the video now. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Eric from the Beemer Fam. We are riding in my E39 BMW M5. It's 2002, and as you can see by the title, I want to talk to you guys about why exactly I chose the E39 M5 over the E60 M5, which is the M5 with the V10. I could have gotten that car, but we're going to discuss why I did not. Jeez, man, jeez. It just echoes up at that pitch. It's perfect. The first reason why I chose the E39 M5 over E60 M5, me personally, I love V10 cars, but there is nothing like a brute sounding V8, which this car has. In my opinion, it's the best sounding V8 you can really get, unless we're talking like Ferrari 458 and you know, that caliber of cars. But especially for the price, hands down, this is like the highest quality V8 car that I think you can really buy for any year. And this is why. That's exactly why. It sounds so just manly. You know what I'm saying? The V10, my brother's got the E63 M6. I actually drove that car a few times, and he's got the SMG transmission and everything. Dude, this thing sounds amazing. What I liked about the M6, because the M6 and the M5 are almost the same thing, except the M6 is lighter and it's actually faster. So I actually got to drive, I guess, the more extreme version of the E60 M5, and basically what I got from that car is that it sounds amazing. It looks good as well. In terms of like the torque, you really get the torque in the higher range of the RPM bands compared to this car. In this car, you have the torque all down low pretty much. That's going to be good for breaking traction at low speeds and even high speeds. It's just a whole different experience. It almost feels like you get pushed back in the seat more immediately, as to where in the V10 you got to wait until you hit above like 2,500, maybe 3,000 RPMs. To where you get that inertia going backwards. That's what I like more about the V8. It's got that torque down low, and you can just really toss yourself and your passengers around the seat more. And then on top of that, ooh, hear that pop? On top of that, the exterior design of the ooh, getting all kind of pops. Yeah, the exterior design of the E39 M5, I believe it's the best looking M5 of all time. It's just iconic looking. You got everything. When you think of a BMW, This car has everything that checks off that list of what a BMW really is and what it should look like, in my opinion. So number one, you really have the engine of the car. It's just the S62, you know, at this moment in time, it's my favorite BMW motor. Number two, you have the exterior designs of the cars. That this car looks classic, but also aggressive, sporty, and modern at the same time. And I feel like that's extremely hard to do. So number three, you have the performance. This car only came in a manual, as to where in the E60 M5, the V10s, those cars mainly came in SMG automated manual, which is pretty much an automatic. You can use the paddle shifters. That car, you know, pretty much came with that transmission, and then they made a very limited number of manual options for that car. And you know, at the time when I was 19 years old, looking for this car, you know, the manuals were quite out the budget. They're more expensive than just the regular SMG cars, and so yeah, that's also something that bothered me, as to where this, I knew I wanted a manual, and these were only came in manual, so it made the job search quite easy in a sense. So yeah, the performance, and I just got passed by a Prius. That just happened. Yeah, the performance of the E39 M5 is tailored towards my taste. Okay, it has that V8, it's got the low end torque, it's got the manual. It's a very emotional experience, this car. And then on top of that, the reliability of both the cars. This car is has proven to be much more reliable than the V10 cars, and you know, the research will tell you that. I was doing my research back and forth, and you know, it's apparent. You can, any of you guys can just look up, you know, what's one of the most reliable M cars, and the V10 cars is not going to be on that list. It's actually deemed one of the most unreliable M cars of all time, and you know, that's because of that SMG transmission, and you know, they got the rod bearing issues going on with that. Now, obviously, you know, some of these cases are freak accidents, and you know, every car's got their faults. Like my car's got the timing chain guides and the vanos and stuff, but it seemed like this car had less issues with it. There's less technology, and it's actually easier to work on, whether it be for a mechanic or for myself. So, you know, that is something that attracted me about the car, as to where with the V10s, you really got to take it to a shop, unless you're like a BMW tech and you know all about the V10 cars. If you're not, then, you know, you're going to have some trouble with maintenance down the line in terms of easy installation and DIYs and stuff like that. So that is something I was not about. You can just hear it like screaming through the trees. It hits a whole nother pitch now. It's ridiculous. What the fuck? I'm not saying the E60 M5 is not a great car at all. I think it's a phenomenal car. One of the last things that kind of threw me off about the E60 M5 is the size. Yes, they're both 5 Series, but I'm gonna have to put the weight comparison between the two on the top left and the top right of the screen, and you'll see the weight difference, but also not only just pound for pound, visually how the E60 M5 looks compared to the E39 M5 is quite disappointing to me. The E60 M5 is much bigger, and you can really see it. The E39 M5 sits much lower, and to me it looks more aggressive in a sense, and it just looks more sleek. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that threw me off about the E60 M5 was the size of the car. So yeah, you can really feel the weight, like in this car. Yeah, on paper it's a heavy car. I can't argue that, but to today's standard, this car is not that heavy, especially for a 4-door performance sedan. It's probably one of your lightest options out there. It may be the lightest option out there. I'm curious to see what is more lighter, this or an F80 M3. because they've got to be close. Number one, you've got the engine, the V8. You know, I'm a V8 man. Number two, you know, you got the looks. You've got the styling and just the overall design of the car. And number three, you've got, you know, the performance, the manual, the inertia from the low end torque, all that. You know, you've got all these things that come together. It just made it, you know, seem very obvious what car I should get. And on top of that, last but not least, the E39 M5 is my dream car. I've always, you know, at some point, you know, I as a kid, especially when the car came out, playing Gran Turismo and stuff like that, I did want an E60 M5 for a long one. Specifically, you know, I thought a white one would look really cool. But, you know, as time grew on, you know, the E39 has just proven to be more of a dream car for me. And, you know, it just, you know, it gave me more, you know, I would just love the car more, really. And yeah, I had, you know, my first M experience in this car as a kid, not even driving it, but just being in it. And yeah, man, this car, I would not trade this for an E60 M5 any day. You know, I feel like this car, you know, fits my needs perfectly. It's almost like it's tailored for a brother like me, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, if you guys are out there trying to figure out what car you want to get next, make sure you have that, because at the end of the day, you know, if shit's breaking, and parts are failing on the car, which they will eventually, are you going to be happy with your decision? Are you still going to be like, I'm not going to sell this car, I love this car? So if you guys agree with me or just like the video in general, thought this was useful, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow us on Instagram at Beemer Fam. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.